This show contains spoilers and adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
Movies with Ron, movies with Ron.
Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Movies with Ron.
All right, I used to love conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And I finally found one to believe in. You know that Disney movie Frozen?
Yes.
Yeah. You know why they made that movie? I mean, they probably made it, but it was probably called something else. But they called it Frozen, so that when people go to Google and search for Walt Disney Frozen, the movie will show up, and you won't read anything about how Walt Disney cryogenically froze himself, had people do it after his death.
I absolutely believe that
That is
too.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the eyes of Disney, they just wanted everyone to let it go. Welcome to episode 86 of Movies with Ron, the podcast where my older brother recaps a movie he saw from beginning to end, for me and you, because we like his versions better. It's okay if you've seen the movie. It's okay if you haven't seen it. The experience is unique, so let's get it on. I'm Chris, your MC for the time being. Rick is absent this week. Here with us, Nurse Candy.
Hey, everybody.
And here he is, folks.
He's the ball cracker, death on foot. You know him, you love him. He's Ron. Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, guys.
So, Hellraiser. We ready for this?
Oh, hell yeah, we are.
I'm ready for this.
Yeah. This week is Hellraiser. Last week, let's congratulate Candy on getting through her first recap.
Yay, good job, Candy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
First of many.
Looking back on it, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
And it was good to have Ron there. He was kind of my training wheels. You know, every time I hit a pothole, he kind of smoothed things over. It was good.
Yeah, this week's episode is by request from our guy, Alan Rundle.
All right, Alan.
Yeah,
All right.
He's over in Scotland. You can give him a follow on Twitter, @DelBucko.
You ever seen some of his tweets?
They're funny.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah. Like a politician. Like the president of Ireland will make a tweet. And, like, I just follow Alan.
Right.
So I get Alan's tweet of, well, yeah, that'd be great if you didn't suck so much.
You know, he's in Scotland, right? Yeah, good one.
Sorry, Alan. This episode's for you. Written and directed by Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. The Renaissance man of horror. Based on his book, The Hellbound Heart. Mm-hmm. Which they said sounded too much like a romance story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of what this movie is.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, when they said no to that title, he was like, well, how about Sadomasochists from Beyond the Grave?
Clive said that he never works. Like, he's managed to make a career out of being creative.
Uh-huh.
And he never feels like he has a job. So
Fuck him.
I want to hear from everyone on Twitter, @MoviesWithRon. We also got a Facebook page. Talk about your jobs. Yeah. I want to hear what people do
All right, yeah.
when they listen to our show. You know? Sometimes you're driving to work, listening to the show. Yeah. What are you driving to? We want to know what you do, people.
That's what I used to do. It was my favorite thing.
Back when you had a job.
In fact, that's like the only bad thing about being on the show is it's made my Sunday nights much less exciting. So I remember experiencing this movie as I was probably 12, maybe 13. And I hadn't read Clive Barker yet. So this was my first experience into his kind of dark universe that he created. We had some great fare in the 80s of horror movies, but this was that first step into darkness. And it was kind of shocking.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
It was different. It felt different.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not many jump scares either. Not like your typical 80s slasher movies.
Right.
In fact, he was forced to add some later.
Yeah, they're in there and they're dumb.
Yeah. But what made this movie different, and all of Clive Barker's stuff, is horror as fantasy. Like, the way he creates his mythology, a lot of times what you think is scary is not the antagonist of the story. Makes sense?
Yeah.
No.
All right. I'll ask this question. Who is the antagonist of Hellraiser? Don't answer.
Okay.
Let's address it afterwards. People are going to listen, figure out who the bad guy is. Also, he's pretty sexy with his stories.
Oh,
I remember
man.
reading interviews in his books. He's always got, I got to throw in the sex. That's what people want. They want a break sometimes. They just want some sex. And, pretty big running theme throughout Hellraiser, I think.
Totally.
I wasn't sure if I was going to bring this up, but you guys talk a lot about your preteen
Chicks.
moments in film that were significant. This was an incredibly significant film for me. Like, other girls are listening to New Kids on the Block. But when I saw that scene with Julia and Frank, and stop me if I'm going too far, I was like, holy shit. That did it for me. Like,
Really?
that was
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yes. It was sexy as hell. That was like Cinemax After Dark for me.
I heard it was a lot more risque.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they made him cut it back.
They said you're only allowed to have 2 thrusts.
Yeah. And Clive was like, 2.
Yeah.
Oh, and there was spanking.
Yes.
He had to cut out the spanking.
I believe it.
All right, but this film is tough. All right? When it first got submitted, we got an X rating.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Hellraiser is gory. It's filled with dread. It's not dreadful.
X rating, too much dread.
No better illustrated than the last time I saw this movie, which was like a decade ago.
Oh, wow.
Me, Rick, and Ron shared a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like, we should get a house together. Nothing can go wrong. Ron's ex-girlfriend at the time cooked us spaghetti. It was spaghetti, noodles, and meat sauce.
Yeah. That's what that is.
It's not like a quick dinner. It's like a dinner you got to like maneuver when you eat it, you know? And then you put on Hellraiser, and we had a choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, we're watching Hellraiser tonight. Basically, I was like, oh, I bought 3 new movies, or I got these for my birthday, whatever. Which one do you want to watch? And we chose Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And, man, gross fucking movie. All right? And I remember, because I love Hellraiser. There's the reanimation scene.
Oh, yeah, man. And that scene is timeless. Like,
Yeah.
it holds up today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And I remember looking over at Ron's ex while that was going on, and we all had plates of spaghetti in front of us. She was not eating, and she was just looking at the screen. Her chin was like super glued to her neck, and she was like, "Excuse me, what are we watching?" But I was eating, because I love Hellraiser.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
She didn't make the cut with that one. It's a defining moment.
Yeah. I got rid of her that night. She fucked up the spaghetti too. Tasted like shit.
Yeah, it was all watery.
You know what? She sucked.
Fucking bitch.
Fucking watery spaghetti. Goddamn fucking moron. Is this spaghetti?
Something about Hellraiser is they got the Cenobites in the movie.
Yeah.
All right. You'll hear about them. The studio wanted stuntmen to play them.
Yeah.
You know, because they're all wearing heavy wardrobes and makeup. They're like, put some stuntmen in there and we'll save some money. Oh. And Clive Barker was like, no, we need real trained actors. And he got his way, and it really shows, especially with Doug Bradley.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Chatterer.
Oh, yeah.
No better actor in the movie.
Yeah, he had the best lines. I heard his mouth was removable.
Yeah.
So that he could eat. The guy who had the worst time was Butterball.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was completely, he didn't have like a removable mouth or anything. He was just like,
Here you go.
yeah, he was just stuck in that costume.
Yeah, the Chatterer and Butterball were both supposed to have lines.
Yeah.
Oh.
You like it when we just read you the IMDb trivia like we made it up?
You know I do.
Yeah. Then they liked Doug Bradley, and they were like, yeah, give him all the lines.
Yeah, no, the other two, they couldn't say their lines from underneath all the makeup.
Oh, yeah. You're
So they gave the lines to
You're right.
Doug Bradley and the female Cenobite,
No, I didn't
who
know
was originally named Deep Throat.
The Cenobite's wardrobe in the script was only described as, and I quote, savage beauty. And stuff like romantic monstrosity. And then when they hired a wardrobe person, she was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because, Clive is like, he's a literary man. He didn't know what they were going to look like. So they settled on a cross between a punk rock S&M club and the priesthood.
Ah.
And got some wicked costumes out of that.
Put them in some leather dresses. My name is Clive Barker.
How about that story about the post-production party
Yeah.
where Doug Bradley walks in and nobody talks to him? They're just ignoring him.
Yeah, he got snubbed.
His feelings were all hurt. He was like, we got along so good on the set. What happened? And nobody recognized him without the makeup on.
All right, what sets this film apart from all the other ones at the time, because it was like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, you never knew anything about the monsters.
That's right.
Right.
And Clive Barker wanted monsters who talk about their condition. Also frank. Everyone's got a story, it's,
Everybody's got feelings and motivation.
yeah. It's,
No one is a silent, lumbering brute.
there you go.
Or a stand-up comedian like Chucky or Freddy,
Yeah. There's some cockroaches in the movie.
And maggots.
And rats.
Apparently, if you have cockroaches on your movie set, they all have to be one sex.
Oh.
Yeah. Or else an infestation could happen.
Ooh.
It has to be controlled. So the insect wrangler, the cock wrangler, he has to sex all of the roaches, right? And on Hellraiser, they were all male. So
It was all gay.
those are Clive Barker's words.
Yeah.
They're all gay cockroaches.
Oh, wow, he really said that.
Yeah.
They are gay roaches.
Don't make fun of his voice.
This is how I sound.
Did you know that Clive Barker hates the name Pinhead?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
That was never supposed to be that guy's name. He's just credited as
Lead Cenobite.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Yeah.
Don't call him Pinhead.
Now, he wrote a sequel to The Hellbound Heart, right?
No. Well,
Or sort of sequel.
he wrote one that came out like 2 years ago.
That was the Scarlet Gospels?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But, like, Pinhead is in that shit? I don't know. I
Right.
never read it.
Right.
Yeah, they pit Pinhead against Harry D'Amour in that book.
Is it pronounced D'Amour or D'Amour?
I don't know.
My whole life long, I've been saying it wrong.
I don't think I've ever said it out loud before. I've only read it.
People are listening. Who the fuck is that?
Harry D'Amour is Scott Bakula from Lord of Illusions.
And he will always be Scott Bakula.
Yes.
But in that book, he like talks about how Pinhead hates the name Pinhead. So yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
He is the Hell Priest.
Yeah.
All right, like every good first horror movie, everything's centered around this special house. It's the new house, 187 Dollis Hill Lane.
Really?
Yeah, 187. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
What?
In
Murder was the case that they gave me.
in Dollis Hill, London. So I know we've got some United Kingdomers out there,
Of course.
so you can go visit. Someone bought it afterwards and killed themselves in it. So there's that.
Sweet, yeah.
Piece of horror history, yeah.
Jesus.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a real house they filmed in.
Wow.
Shot in sequential order. Hellraiser, from beginning to end.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. And Clive Barker had never made a feature-length movie before.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, all he was he was a great writer and a great painter. So, like, he showed them the script, then showed the studio his paintings and storyboards and stuff, and they were like, "My God, man, take this money and give me a film." And Clive Barker was like,
Yes, yes.
"Oh," he was like, "What do I do now?" And he went to the library.
How to make a movie.
There were 2 books about filmmaking, and they were all checked out.
Oh.
So he had to make a film just winging it.
Whoa.
Yeah, and he describes as it being shot in sequential order. It gets better as it goes along.
Well, it's that time again, fellas. And this week,
All right.
All right. I hope there's an odd number of available points.
okay. Well, with Rick not being here, I will be pitting 2 brothers head to head.
2 brothers.
It's just called Two Brothers.
Head to head.
Yeah. Black Thunder and White Lightning. Ooh.
To play the game of the century, Cenobite or not.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm going to give you 15 names, and you will both decide who is a Cenobite and who is an imposter. Are you ready to play?
Okay, is this speed sensitive?
No, if you, like the last game, I think if you confidently guess, even if you're a second behind, if you're sure of your guess, you will get the point.
Okay.
Let's just
See what
guess
I'm
the
saying?
same thing as each other, and we will get through this together. Man.
All right.
It's you and me, baby.
Can't have thunder without lightning.
Number 1, Dreamer. Cenobite or not?
Cenobite.
Where are you getting these names? Is the toys included in this?
Are these from the cinematic universe?
It is from the Hellraiser universe.
All right. I'm going to say,
I already said Cenobite.
yeah, Cenobite.
Okay, 1 for Ron and Chris. That is
All right.
correct.
I feel cheated.
How? We just aligned ourselves. Oh. We just decided.
We're actually doing
we're
that.
a team.
Okay. Damn, it's not fun now.
I somehow feel cheated. Still.
I feel cheated.
Number 2, Camera Head.
That's
Cenobite.
a Cenobite.
Yeah.
That is correct.
That's from Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth.
Yeah. Do we get another?
I get a point.
when we do that.
No, you do not.
Oh, okay.
Number
go.
3, Drill Bit.
Cenobite.
Imposter.
That is an imposter, ladies
Hey,
and gentlemen.
man, you fucking broke the alliance.
What?
Number 4,
What?
That was from Puppet Master, dude. Come on, drill bit,
Damn it.
drill head,
Number 4, Stitch.
imposter.
Cenobite.
It is a Cenobite.
Yeah.
Number 5, The Eviscerator.
Imposter.
Yeah, imposter.
Oh, you guys are too good. It is an imposter. Number 6, Ripper.
Imposter.
Cenobite.
It is an imposter. Chris gets the point. Number 7, Spike.
That's a Cenobite.
Imposter.
It is indeed a Cenobite.
Damn.
Ron gets the point.
Yeah, that's right.
They got less creative with the names as they went along.
These names are horrible. Number 8, Needle Nose.
Imposter.
Yeah, imposter.
Ooh, you guys are good. It was an imposter. Number 9, Piston Head.
That's a Cenobite.
Yeah, Cenobite.
That is correct. Number 10, Dr. Payne.
Cenobite.
Imposter.
It is an imposter. Ron gets the point. Number 11, Razor Face.
Cenobite.
Cenobite.
Incorrect. I got you both. Number 12, The Wire Twins.
Taser
That is
face.
a Cenobite.
Taser face.
Taser face.
What was the?
The Wire Twins.
I said Cenobite.
All right, Cenobite.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do this that way again.
Yeah.
I think he's just copying you now.
I know the wire to it from the fourth one.
Okay, okay. Number 13, The Hammer.
Imposter.
That's an imposter.
That is correct.
They call this the hammer.
Number 14, Gouged.
Cenobite.
Yeah, Cenobite.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Damn.
Number 15, Bound.
Cenobite.
Yeah, Cenobite.
All right. You guys got that one. Let's see here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot hold Ron down. It is 11-10. I'm sorry, Chris.
Ah, fuck you guys. Damn you.
Oh, the champion reigns.
You have won a trip straight to hell where the pain and pleasure are indivisible.
Indivisible. Yeah.
I couldn't remember it.
Indecisible.
Unpronounceable.
Woohoo. Thanks for playing, guys.
Yes, of course.
All right, folks. The box. You opened it. We came. It's Hellraiser on Movies with Ron.
It's showtime.
We're on an express elevator to hell. Going down.
Come on, get the people out.
Okay, you watched the movie, right?
Oh, yes.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to recap it. All right, so it's just a black screen and people's names. And at a very unimportant part in the music, you just get
Clive Barker's Hellraiser.
And then for some reason, when it shows the special makeup effects guy's name, that's when the music hits and it's like, bum, bum, bum.
It's because I had a crush on him.
Fuck off. You know, he had throat polyps. He had to get him surgically removed.
You
Fucked
are
up
a
his
throat
voice.
polyp. And you fuck up my voice.
A throat polyp who made a podcast.
Thank you.
Fuck you. You're both a couple of polyps. I love his voice. I could do it all day. You know what?
So we starred in a Middle Eastern cafe.
Nah, so we're in this cafe, right? Like a street cafe. In the background, like out in the street, you can hear like Middle Eastern music, I guess. Which is weird because there's this like super stereotypically Asian dude sitting at a table with another guy. The other guy is Frank. They're sitting there drinking absinthe, and they're doing it the lazy way where you just drop the sugar cubes into the cup. Sitting next to the absinthe is a puzzle box. Okay, and it's like all like ornate looking, and it's
Gilded.
gilded. And the Asian guy looks at Frank and he's like, "What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?"
The box.
That's my pleasure.
And he drops this big wad of 50s on the table. Ooh. Interestingly, we see this graffiti over the shoulder of the Asian man. And it's weird. Looks like this kind of skeletal dragon thing, right? The guy drops another sugar cube in his absinthe, and Frank doubles down on the cash. Take it. It's yours. And Frank doesn't waste any time, takes his puzzle box and fucking leaves. As he runs off, the Asian guy's like, "It always was."
Damn.
And we immediately cut to dark-haired, bare-chested, sexy-ass Frank in a dark room with candles. And we hear, "It's the Undertaker. He's coming into the ring." He's by himself. He's in a dark room. And he's sexy. Kind of 80s sexy, though. So
Yeah.
like a poor man's Billy Zane. Or a rich man's Billy Zane. I think he's an upgrade myself. And he's just sitting on the floor in the middle of a square of candles. Now, how often do you see that? It's always a circle.
Yes, I'm making a square. No one does that.
So he's in this square of candles, and he's like fumbling around with this puzzle box. He's like trying to solve it, okay? And he ends up like pushing a button on the side of it. He activates it somehow, right? And all of a sudden, there's like blue electricity coming out of it. And this is like, it's animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in the 80s?
It's forgivable.
Yeah, get over it. So he activates the box, and all of a sudden, around the room, in the darkness, we just hear a bunch of creaking, and the walls and the floor, all the wood, it's creaking and stuff. And now we start to see like blue light shining in through all the cracks in the walls and shit, and it's like, holy shit. Finally, he completely solves the puzzle box, and then all these fucking chains with hooks on them just shoot out of it. And all these hooks just rip right into this motherfucker's skin, and he's like, ah! Ah!
He has the buyer's remorse.
That was good. You ever think about podcasting?
They always get cut anyway. I just say what I want. It won't make it in.
With him screaming, it just cuts to a shot of the house from the outside, and it's daylight, and all of a sudden there is no more screaming. We see back inside the house, and there's just like gay cockroaches. Nobody here but us cockroaches. And we see the door to the room he was in, and it creaks open. We travel inside, and man, it is fucked up. Like, there's all these fucking chains and hooks hanging down from the ceiling, and they're all covered in bloody meat.
Yep.
Couple of spinning wooden pillars in the middle of the room. They're all covered in, like, barbed wire and skulls and shit. More meat. These would eventually become the Pillar of Souls. And the third one as the mythology grew.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got some nails and some hooks and some chains. Nipples. So walking around through all these chains and shit, we start to see the Cenobites. First of all, we see the female one, the one who was named Deep Throat. She's named that because she has a wound on her throat that is like held open by hooks, and it's very vaginal looking. She's walking around, and we can see that there are more of these Cenobites off in the shadows. Do you guys know what the word Cenobite means?
What?
A member of a monastic community.
Oh.
You thought,
He made it up. He did not.
so one of these Cenobites, they put their Cenobitic hand in all the blood, and they start like sifting through the piles of meat on the floor. And one guy's like, yeah, oh, there's an eye, okay. Yeah. There's a cheek. And this guy, this hand of this unseen Cenobite, he reassembles Frank's ripped up face. He just like lays it out on the floor so you can just get a look at it.
Yeah.
And then this guy stands up, and we get to see him from the front for the first time. And he has got the biggest dick you have ever seen. But also on his head, like he's got like this grid all over the skin of his face and his bald head. And at the intersecting points of all of these lines are pins driven into his fucking head.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like he's some sort of pinhead. Anyway, that's his name.
He looks incredible,
Oh, yeah.
even for 1987.
So Pinhead picks up the puzzle box, which is like all opened because Frank solved it. And he like starts to, play with it a little bit. And then he closes it, and everything goes, and the room is completely empty.
Yeah.
And this is something that never really dawned on me as a kid, but right fucking then is when somebody's like fumbling at the front door trying to get inside. And we can hear this couple outside kind of arguing like, it's got to be one of these keys. Are you sure you've got the right one? Maybe someone changed the locks. Who would change the locks on this house, babe? Jesus fucking Christ. Shut the fuck up. Oh, I got it. And then he opens the door, and we meet Larry and Julia, husband and wife.
Yeah. So you really think it's right after that happened?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You want to fight about it?
I thought it was like a style thing, but maybe, I don't know.
Oh, you think you're more receptive to style than me or something? I like to think it was right afterwards. That's cool as fuck.
It is cool.
So Larry is a too white nice guy. And Julia is a bitchy British wife.
Yeah.
They go inside and he's like, well, this is it. And she's like, fuck. And she gives like a polite smile. Yeah, it's fucking great. Smells damp. Well, it's been empty, but don't worry, we'll get it feeling like a home. So this was your childhood home? Oh, yeah, I wanted to sell it after the old lady died, but, Frank said no. I guess he needed a hideout or something. And all of a sudden, Julia is triggered. And she heard Frank's name. So it's like, love. Maybe. They're walking around. There's all this weird old shit in the house. He's like, don't worry, honey. It all goes. I thought half of it was your brother's. Well, I've never known him to kick cash out of bed, but, hey, we got to let Kirsty see this before we move in. You really want to live here? Well, fuck yeah, you don't? I guess. It's got to be better than Brooklyn, right? Oh, now don't start. Listen, babe, we can make it work here. So it's like troubled marriage. The best kind. Listen, babe, I got a great job. You're back on your own turf. And it's like, where does this movie take place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be London, but the studio was like, nope. So now it's like ambiguous. And if you ask Clive Barker, he's like, you have to decide. Because I don't know. And she's like, yeah, I guess. Well, so what's the argument? No argument. And she walks away and he's like, oh, Christ, honey. And then that bitch drops a cigarette on the floor of their new home and snubs it out.
I know.
And I was like, what the fuck? She goes upstairs mad. And Larry's like, shit, I am never gonna get laid. He goes into the kitchen and it is fucking nasty. There's like flies buzzing. Bzzz, and like, there's an ashtray full of maggots. And some unidentifiable piece of thing in it. It's fucking weird looking. And he's like, Jesus fucking Christ. From upstairs, Julia's like, Larry! He runs up there, and there is a bum bed in the attic. You know the kind, Chris. She's like, squatters. And he picks up this tiny little ceramic statue of two people fucking. And he's like, no. It's Frank. Frank's been here. He likes the sex stuff. And then the phone rings, and they're both like, what? He goes to answer it, and Julia takes that opportunity to start going through Frank's shit. Larry's like, hello? Daddy! And it is Kirsty, his daughter. She's like, Daddy, I found a room. I thought you were going to stay with us, babe. Dad. Come on, you'd like this house. While this conversation's happening, Julia's going through Frank's old shit, and she finds some pictures. Some sex pictures. And it is her husband's brother, Frank, and fucking some random.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, got it, need it, got it. And then she finds one that's not sex, and it's just like, Frank and this chick just like sitting there looking like a fucking Gitano jeans ad from the 80s, right? And she rips the picture in half and throws away the half with the lady's face on it. And then she puts the picture of Frank like up against her heart. And it's like, whoa, you got some shit going on.
Yeah.
On the phone, Larry's like, Kirsty, come on, you got to come over and see the house. I need a couple days. I need to find a job. What? You don't need a job. I told you could just live here with us and like, mooch. It's like a one-way ticket to ride, And she's like, no, this is something I've got to do. And he's like, well, all right, call me tomorrow. He gets off the phone and Julia walks in. And he's like, so? Why not? Great, we'll move in on Sunday. And then we cut to moving day.
All right, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all ready for this? This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie where we find out that two of these mover douchebags and Larry all together can't move a fucking mattress up some stairs.
I love it.
Like they are having the hardest time. Larry's like, come on, push it. And the movers are like, fucking useless morons.
Pivot.
Yeah. Pivot. These movers give movers a bad name. Right then, Julia walks in, and both the movers stop, and they're like, fuck yeah.
There's this one mover who has like the greatest googly eyes. Yeah. He's just looking at her.
And Julia, I might add, and this is a good point to bring this up, is not hot.
There's nothing wrong with her.
Yeah, Julia is amazing.
She's okay. She's a lovely woman.
Oh.
She is amazing. She just doesn't have a purpose yet.
She's a handsome woman.
She has a glacial beauty.
Oh, wow.
Jesus
Yes.
What do you
Christ.
call that?
She definitely looks cold. You hearing this shit? All right, I stand corrected. The Ice Queen has entered the room. Larry's like, okay, let's take 5, guys. The mover's like, you got any beer? And I'm like, you're fired.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten the bed up the stairs. Julia's like, there's some beer in the fridge. And the mover's just like, fucking staring at her. And then she's like, fucking staring at Larry. And Larry's like, man, what the fuck? All right, you know what? I guess I'll get it. And he walks away all bitchy, and he's like, it's not like I've got anything better to do. Julia goes back upstairs. The movers are like, yeah, that's the flattest ass I've ever seen. Cut to Kirsty out walking in her new city where she just moved to, for her dad, I guess. And she walks up to the house she has come to visit. She walks in. She has to muscle her way past the movers who are like in the door. And the googly-eyed one is like, oh, God. Oh, man, my dreams are coming true. She's like, yeah, that's great. Excuse me. He's like, hey, you want to buy a bed? And she goes, not much. Like, what? Her and Larry reunite. It's like, hey, it's so wonderful to see you. Is Julia here? She's upstairs. You know what? And hey, be nice. So it is clear that Kirsty does not like Julia. Larry's like, you know what? There's the kitchen. Go ahead and make some coffee. Okay, Dad. She runs off. And the movers are like sipping their beer. And they are sipping their beer like douchebags. Like, go back and watch it. I don't even like the way they drink the beer. Hey, is that your daughter? Yeah. She's got her mother's looks. Her mother's dead. And the guy just goes, oh. Kirsty tries to fill up the coffee pot and like, oh, new house, old house, whatever. The fucking faucet just starts spewing water out the top. And she's like, God damn it. And she is flooding their kitchen. Okay. Julia's upstairs looking at the Frank pictures. And she's like, and we get a flashback.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
And you just hear, can I come in? And then the front door opens up and it's raining.
Yeah.
And this sexy fucking Frank.
It's like a romance novel.
Yeah.
It is.
It's even kind of like fuzzy.
Yeah,
I know.
like Vaseline on the lens.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Oh. And then we see who opened the front door, and it is Julia. Young, long-haired, innocent Julia.
That's right.
And then there's sexy Frank, and he's like, can I come in? Now, he sounds like that, but he doesn't quite look like he sounds like that. No. And this is because he was dubbed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it kind of works. It makes Frank seem supernatural.
Yeah. It's like, okay, Clive Barker made a great movie that they didn't think was going to be this great.
Right.
So it was so great, the studio was like, make it take place in America.
Right.
Which is why it was supposed to take place in London, but now we don't know. And Frank, the actor, was British, and they dubbed him with an American.
Oh,
Oh, you never knew that?
no.
Yeah. That's why he sounds so strange when you watch him talking. You're Julia, right? Yeah, I'm nailing it. I'm Frank. Brother Frank. I came for the wedding. And Julia's like, oh. Yes. She's like all warm and loving.
Yes, she is.
She's like, you're very welcome. Have you got a towel? And Julia's just like staring at him. And you just hear Kirsty say, have you got a towel? And we are back in present day. A wonderful transition.
Good job, Clive.
Yes. Kirsty, yes. There's one in the bathroom. Yeah, hey, did Daddy tell you I got a room? Julia? She goes out to find Julia, who is now gone. But she's just upstairs on the balcony, and she's like lurking. Like she's just actively avoiding Kirsty.
It's fucking creepy.
It is creepy. So then she slinks backward into this empty attic room. As soon as she walks in there, and it's empty, okay, and it's all dark, you just hear all this fucking whispering. And it's like many people doing it. It's weird. And the windows are all covered in paper. And you just hear Frank go,
What shall we drink to?
and we're back in the flashback.
Yeah.
Wedded bliss?
And there's young Julia and Frank. Frank is sitting in a chair in this young lady's home, just chugging a bottle of booze. Like, this is how you get things done. She's like, well, I'm very happy.
I'm sure you are.
Julia in the attic, remembering this, she's looking quite flushed.
Are you going to let me kiss the bride?
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And he just
Stands up and goes to this young lady, Julia, that he just met, and he fucking grabs her.
and she is instantly his.
Yeah.
Like, take me. And then he kisses her in a way that I like to describe as a rape kiss.
It was aggressive seduction.
That's what you call it. Now we see Julia remembering this again, and she's like, yeah. Oh, God. In the flashback, she's like, what about Larry? And she is in a negligee. Like she has begun to strip. Bare-chested Frank pulls out a fucking switchblade, goes, opens it up, and he's like,
Forget him.
and she's like, what are you going to do with that?
And he reaches down to the tag on the mattress, and he cuts one of them off.
Nah, he cuts the strap on her nightgown,
And then he just grabs her boob.
It is pretty rough.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, wait. She grabs his hand and then, like, holds it in her hand. Like, I was thinking we could, like, do love stuff.
And he's like, I don't like that.
And then she starts licking his finger, and he's like,
Okay, I like that.
and then they just start fucking. And they are on top of Julia's wedding gown.
I know.
Yeah. And it's like 20 minutes after they met.
Yeah.
Seems like, anyway.
And it's the day before her wedding.
Frank is the brother that's like, I do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
This is how I live. I'm a predator of female innocence.
So we are getting scenes of them having sex on the bed, and it's really
Rough and passionate and awesome.
and Larry and the movers moving the mattress. These are intercut, all right? Mm-hmm. So Larry's like, come on, pull. Meanwhile, right about now, I'm like, I sure hope Kirsty's a plumber. They're probably having a problem right about now. So in the sex flashback, it's getting heavy. And they're like, rah, rah, rah. And right at the climax, we see Larry pulling the mattress up the hallway, and he rips his fucking hand open on a nail head that's sticking out of the wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
And he's like, ah! And Julia's like, ah! Now we get Frank and young Julia. Naked in the post-coital, sitting on the bed, what you thinking? Time. And Frank just says,
It's never enough.
and he gets up to leave. He's naked. And then Julia chases him because obviously she is in love. Like he wanted to hit it and quit it. And Julia wants to run away with him, And she's like, please, I'll do anything you want. She's like holding on to him, and he's like,
I don't know. You kind of smell like baby powder.
Julia's remembering all this in the attic when Larry walks in, and he's like, Julia! And his hand is just bleeding profusely. She's like, oh, holy Jesus Christ. And Larry, he's just like walking in. And he looks so fucking pathetic.
Yeah,
And he's
he
like-
does.
He looks sick.
Yeah. It's a good scene.
Yeah. And he just walks up, holds his bloody hand out to her and goes, "Here." She's like, okay. Is it deep? I don't know. I haven't looked yet. You know me and blood. Oh my God, I think I'm going to faint. Jesus fucking Christ. You're not going to faint. You're going to need stitches. And there is blood all over the fucking floor. And there's like beauty shots of it hitting the floor like, boing, boing.
Yeah.
So they leave for the hospital. We stay in the attic and we're like on the blood that's sitting on the floor, which then soaks into the floorboards and is clean like it was never there. At that point, we hear dum dum, dum dum.
Fuck yeah.
Dum dum. The camera pans down underneath the floor, and we see in the crawl space there is a fucking beating heart that is growing underneath the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've never seen this movie, you're like, Jesus, that is cool. Now, everyone had left the house, including Kirsty, so it's just you, me, and the heart, right? And the floorboards in the attic, they start shaking and shimmying. They're rocking and rolling. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, whoa, shit is happening. Oh my God. And then these two giant fucking slimy insect arms just jut up out of the floor. Brah. Like it is born into the attic. And they are slimy. And they are awesome. Attached to these arms is kind of a weird looking spinal column type of thing going on. You're like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah.
And then elsewhere on the floor, there's like this bubble of blood, and it starts like reconstituting, and it's bigger and bigger, and all of this blood, like it's shot in reverse, like they made these cool sculptures and then melted them, and then they just reversed the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's coming back to life. And now that bubble on the floor, it's a fucking brain. And these arms like bend down so that their shoulders touch the brain, and it absorbs it. And it's like, oh shit, it's a man.
Yeah. Come on, Ron, I'm trying to eat spaghetti here.
Now the thing kind of raises up. It's got a brain now, so you kind of like think of it as maybe it's got feelings. It raises up. There's a few ribs hanging off now, starting to take on more of a human figure shape. Mm-hmm. Now these weird insect arms, we see the end of them, and they're like paws, okay? And I bring this up because fingers just poop out of them.
Yeah. It is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, man. So there's that going on. There's like flesh and soup dripping upwards onto this fucking torso.
Yeah.
And there's like, now there's more meat on the bones and shit. And then this slimy fucking skeletal figure just like rises up on his hands. And we see that it now has a face, and it's just going, "Ah," and it cuts. And it's like, Jesus, man, that was fucking beautiful.
Dude, yeah. The music, too.
Yes.
The
Oh, the
score of
music in this movie.
The movie is beautiful.
Sounds beautiful so far. So now we cut to them having a dinner party in the house later that night. And Larry is like, telling the glorious story of how he had to go to the hospital because he's a fucking wimpy bastard. Jesus, wrap that thing in some toilet paper and go move the bed.
It was pretty bad.
It was a pretty big cut, yeah. You know me and blood. I was like, man, this is just ridiculous. So he's telling the story, and everybody, all of his friends are laughing and shit. His daughter is there, and she is making eyes with the only other guy there that's her age. Okay, and he does that thing where you got a cigarette in your mouth, and then you flip it backwards, and you hold it inside your mouth, and then you flip it back out, and then he looks at her like, "You like that?"
And she was like, ooh.
Yeah,
She did like.
she was like, "Oh my God." She is smitten. And he's like pouring her a drink, and she's like, "No, stop. I'm not going to be able to stand up." And he goes, "So lie down." And everybody fucking laughs. And Larry looks at him like, "You going to fuck my daughter?"
Fucking seriously, man.
And then he's still looking at him. He just goes, "Okay. I've decided I'm fine with it." "Hey, you gonna fuck my daughter?" "Okay. You got a deal." Julia, she's not drinking. She's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I've got some things on my mind. I think I'm going to go to bed. Because she's thinking about Frank, baby.
So she carries the mattress up the stairs.
Yeah. Larry's like, thanks, babe. They're all like, oh, is the party over? Larry's like, no way. And then Julia, she's going to bed. She goes around the room, kisses all of the friends, kisses everybody except Larry.
Oh.
Because he sucks. You want to know who the villain of the movie is? It is Larry. Working against everyone. It's all because he had a dream of a happy family. Naivete. So everybody's getting drunk. Julia's walking upstairs to her room when she hears creaking and, bumping around upstairs in the attic. So she goes up to investigate. We start to hear the whispering again, right? It's fucking weird. I don't know why we're hearing that. But as soon as she opens the attic door, it stops. And we just hear dung dung, dung dung, dung dung. She walks in and sees a puddle of shit in the middle of the floor. Oh, God. Now she's fucking disgusted. But you ain't seen nothing yet. Because then this slimy fucking poopy hand grabs her by the ankle. And she's like, holy fuck! Oh my God, shit! And she backs up and it's like, oh, holy shit. And there is this like slimy poopy little man on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's like crawling at her like really fast.
It's fucking creepy.
Yeah, dude. She backs up to the door and she's like trying to leave. And then the hand just like boom, boom, shuts the door. Julia. And he's got it looks like a fucking zombie face. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, he's a skeleton with only like sinew and tendons on it.
Yeah.
Okay. She looks down at him and is disgusted, right? And terrified. And he's like, don't look at me. Who are you? I said, don't look. Help me. Well, then tell me who you are. Frank. Bitch, what the fuck? No. Believe me. It's me. It's really me. His blood on the floor. It brought me back. Back? From where? Just help me, will ya? Please, God, help me. And it's like, help him? Jesus Christ, Julia, what's your problem? You fucking see the guy? Downstairs, Kirsty leaves the party. She's going to the bathroom, and she's drunk. And this actress, Ashley Lawrence, does such a wonderful job of drunk acting. She like smiles to herself like she's like thinking thoughts. Acting. In the attic, they can hear her walking upstairs, and Frank's like, somebody. No, wait. You can't leave me. Well, what the fuck do you want me to do? You can't leave me like this. You can't. What do you want me to do? The blood. It brought me this far. I need more. You have to heal me. Kirsty's coming upstairs and runs into Julia, who looks like she just found a turd in her bed. And Kirsty's like, are you all right? Right then, Steve. Yeah. That's the name of the guy with the cigarette in the mouth. The guy who likes her. He came looking for her, and he's like, Kirsty, baby. And she's like, oh, shit, it's Steve. Okay, I'll see ya, Julia. So she runs off. We see poking out of the door to the attic room all the way upstairs is slimy poopy Frank. Thanks for listening. I think there's people. Cuts to Kirsty and Steve walking home. There's some dialogue issues at this point. Because he's like, why didn't you want to stay at Larry's house? Seems like there's plenty of room. Yeah, there's Julia, though. Oh, why don't you like her? She's just like you, you know? She's too prim and proper and polite. And he's like, I beg your pardon. And she's like, see? Now, this was written because he's supposed to be British, you know? It's supposed to be her talking about, like, she's just like you. And and he's also like, we're not all like that. So in an American accent, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
What, you mean wealthy people? Because I got money, baby. And she's like, oh, yeah. They walk past this open doorway. In the doorway
There's a long-haired, bearded, homeless guy just staring at Kirsty.
And he looks like, Adam Sandler's buddy from Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, his caddy.
Yeah, he's got a big boner. But it's a homeless boner, so it's like dirty. It's got some tang on it.
Oh, God.
And he's just staring at Kirsty, all right? So then Kirsty and Steve, they are a-flirting and they are a-kissing. They start making out in the train station. Cuts to Larry and Julia in bed. Larry's like sleeping and mumbling. And she is wide awake. And she has a flashback to more sex with Frank. And he's like, anything? Anything. I think she'll do anything for him. And then Dirty Poopy Frank on the floor in the attic, looks over at the door. And it opens up. And Julia's just standing there in the door. And Frank just goes,
You'll do it?
yes, I will.
Fuck yeah.
And then she just closes the door. So now we cut to Kirsty, and she walks into this bedroom, and the air in the room is full of, bed feathers, okay? They're just floating around all over the place. And she looks on this bed and sees a body underneath the sheet. It's pretty apparent at this point that we're seeing a dream. And we just hear this fucking baby crying. And she's looking at this body, and blood starts soaking through the sheet. And she's like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, the body sits up, and it's her fucking dad. And he's like, dead bloody face. And she's like, ah! And then in the real world, fucking Steve wakes up right next to Kirsty. And it's like, the fuck?
Yeah.
And you can see in the background, Kirsty's still sleeping and still having the nightmare.
Yeah.
But it woke Steve up. You guys want to know what's going on there?
Do you know?
Well, I have a theory.
Okay.
This movie came out in 1987. Clive Barker's novel, The Great and Secret Show, came out in 1989. That doesn't mean he wrote it in 1989, and I think Steve and Kirsty were swimming in the dream sea of quiddity.
Damn, you can't talk about this, man. Shit.
Now, that comes from his novel, The Great and Secret Show, which is, to my opinion,
His
Clive Barker's greatest novel ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go read that, yo. In retrospect, Clive Barker was probably like,
How about if he wakes up instead? Have you ever had a nightmare so scary it woke someone else up?
Steve wakes her up. Hey, are you all right? And she's like, no, holy shit, I gotta call my dad. Back in Larry's house, he is up and he answered the phone. But he's still kind of drunk. Hello? Who is this? Daddy, I just needed to know that you were all right. Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm fine. Okay. Yeah, all right. All right, just need to make sure. Okay, sleep well. I love you, sweetie. Julia's like, hey, who was on the phone? It was, she had a bad dream. Who? God damn it. Kirsty. Frank is now upstairs again, well, he's always been up there, but he's poking out the door again, and he very creepily just goes, Kirsty. The fuck's going on there?
Yeah.
He's hungry. And it cuts to daytime, and Julia is leaving the house, ready to seduce men and bring them home to murder them. She comes out in her most frigid-looking suit, tailored suit, and she looks incredibly unapproachable, and is also wearing the world's most ridiculous earrings. They are giant, solid stars.
Yeah.
They're bigger than her ears.
Yeah. She's energized now, though. She's got a purpose.
She does have a purpose. She is so far. I will give her this. She is the most interesting character in the movie so far.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than Shitty Poopy Frank.
It's poop. It stinks. I need more.
Anyway, she's leaving the house and to go hunting for men for tricks. And Frank is like,
Watching out the window.
So she goes to a bar and like picks up some douchebag who's like, I can't help but notice you're drinking alone. And she's like, yes, it's not much fun. And he's like, maybe we should drink together. Like, do you want to come to my house? And he's like, oh God, yes. You know, she's British, he's British. So, you know, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it takes place in, in Britain. So they get back to the house, and it's pretty awkward when they walk in the door. He's like, so, are we going to do this or what?
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And he's like, the fuck? He's like trying to kiss her and shit. She's like pulling away, and he's like, you're not going to change your fucking mind, are you? And then immediately he's like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, fucking
Horrible.
seriously.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, you are turning me on now. Like if murder wasn't the plan, she should be afraid he might murder her.
Yeah.
So she leads him upstairs to the empty, dirty, filthy fucking attic. And he's like, there's no bed. She's like, yeah, no bed. I've always preferred the shitty, nasty floor. And he's like, okay. And looking around this room, like if it were me, I'd be like, this looks like a place I'm going to be killed in.
Yeah, for real.
And he's like, all right, let's fuck. Why don't you take your jacket off? Well, why don't you too? Well, maybe I will. And it's like, Jesus. Something happened. So, like, he gets down to his underwear, I guess, and we start to hear dum 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 dum. And Frank's like watching from the shadows. The guy now has to pee. He's like, too much drink, haha. And he goes to open the door and it's locked. Did you lock this? And then he turns around and sees her coming at him with a fucking hammer and fucking hits him on the fucking head with it. Blood explodes, but she has to hit him like a good 3 or 4 times to finish the job.
Yeah. God damn, Granny.
No one remembers your show.
Sorry. I haven't gotten over it.
Candy she just referenced her own recap. That's okay. I do it all the time. It was such a good recap, Candy. We get it. By the way, if you guys haven't heard my recap, it was funny. I'm kidding. It totally was. So then Frank, like, slithers out to come up to the body, and he says to her, don't look at me. And Julia's like, okay, I get it. You need your space. She walks outside. She's shutting the door, but just in time we see Frank like, grab that fucking body.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck it good. She goes to the bathroom because she's covered in blood. She comes back in, and that guy's body is just like a bloody, shriveled husk.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely been sucked dry.
They drink you.
They drink you. By the way, if you guys haven't heard my recap, it was really funny.
Deep Rising.
That was Deep Rising.
That's right.
So now Frank kind of like walks out of the shadows, and he's a little fuller now. Like he's got maybe a little more flesh on his bones, but he's definitely a lot more veins and shit.
Yeah.
You know, going on. And he can walk easily, like he's standing upright.
See? It's making me whole again. Every drop of blood you spill puts more flesh on my bones. And we both want that, don't we?
And she's like, God fuck yeah.
Good. Come here.
And she's like,
Come here, damn you. I want to touch you. Come to daddy.
And she's just like standing there like, I don't know if it, and then he
Grabs her boob.
and she's like, oh shit. And she takes his hand away from her boob again. Like, it must be love. Because he's fucking slimy and gross. All of a sudden, Larry walks to the front door. Julia, I'm home, baby. So she's like, holy shit. She picks up this like bloody husk, which now weighs like probably a good 10 pounds. And she walks out of the room with it. I was watching this movie with Heather, and she was like, What's she gonna do? What's she gonna do with this thing? Like stuff it down the fucking tub drain? And she just walks into the room across the hall from the attic room. There's 2 rooms in the attic? Yes. Julia! And he goes to the bathroom door. Hey, are you in there, babe? I'm sick. Oh, babe, is there anything I can get you? Yeah, how about a brandy? Because that's yes. That's what you do.
Yeah, settle a stomach.
Okay, I'll be down. Well, there's no hurry. She cleans herself up and goes back into Frank. And then he just fucking grabs her by the shoulders. And he's like,
I'm hurting.
You hurting?
My nerves are beginning to work again.
Oh, good, good.
1 more, maybe 2.
Oh, God. Jesus, no, not again.
To heal me completely. Then we can be away from here before they start to follow.
Who?
The Cenobites. It's only a matter of time before they find I've slipped them. I must get away from here.
Hey, Julia, are you coming down or what? Just a moment. Why don't you put on some music, babe? All right.
Poor Larry. Obedient as ever. Keep your voice down.
And then he like
Grabs her hand like really rough. Don't want babe to hear.
Listen, you're hurting.
You won't cheat me, will you? You'll stay with me. Help me. Then we can be together the way we were before. We belong to each other now. For better. For worse.
And then he says one of the coolest lines in the movie, and he goes,
Like love. Only real.
That's so weird.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then she licks his fingers like, Jesus, you is nasty, but I can't get enough.
Yeah, you like that, don't you, bitch?
Yeah. She's like, give me some more of your slime. And then we cut to a fucking pet store. And Kirsty works here. She's a cashier at the pet shop, and she's dealing with a trouble customer. A woman who has a problem with a parakeet. And she's like, I want to see the manager. And you can just, oh man. When you see this, you're like, man, I fucking hate retail. You know, she's just exploiting the chain of command so that she can feel like she has something to do in her day. Kirsty's dealing with this. Well, the manager's at lunch and you are going to have to wait. When she sees the derelict walk in, the long-haired guy with the big old homeless boner.
Yeah.
And he's all dirty, and he walks into the shop. And he just walks straight to the back of the pet store, and she's like, hang on a second. She goes and follows him. Finds him at the back of the store with his hand in the cage that holds the grasshoppers or the crickets that they feed to, like, the fucking reptiles.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, sticking his gloved hand in, like, I'm going to get me some of these. And she's like, hey, what are you doing? And then he just turns around and looks at her. He just stares at her, and he lifts a handful of these bugs up to his mouth and just fills his mouth with them. And he's like, chewing. And she's like, Jesus Christ, get out, just get out. And he just like stands there staring at her.
He's got crickets stuck in his beard.
Yeah.
It's nasty.
And he just, all right, fine, I'll leave. And then he just walks out. And she's just like fucking staring at him. A fucking monkey in the pet shop goes like, ah! And then Steve is right behind her. He's like, hey, babe. She's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, what's wrong? And she's watching the derelict leave the store. She's like, something weird. Well, what? Nothing. And it's like, why wouldn't you tell him what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching this with Heather, and she was like, what the fuck?
He saw him the other night. They were dreaming in quiddity.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Do you remember the boner? Do you remember the tangy boner? Well, he was eating bugs. The fuck you talking? Cuts back to Julia, who is out and tricking another man into his death. This time, the sequence is a little quicker. It's actually a little bit montagey. He's like in there, smiling at her in his undies, takes a hammer to the head, and he's getting sucked by Frank. So let me break this down for you. Basically, all these men Julia brings home, she has to pound them until the goo comes out, and then Frank sucks it. So Frank's devouring this guy, and Julia this time, like, she looks like she might be a little colder to it now. Like she might even be starting to like it. And now we see Frank again, and now, yep, he's a little bit stronger now. He is basically a full-muscled man, simply with no skin.
Yeah.
All right?
Mr. Goodbody.
Yeah, Slim Goodbody.
He is Slim Goodbody. And he is just like constantly seeping blood.
Yeah.
Okay?
Fucking brilliant makeup here.
Oh, man,
Yes.
it's so amazing.
Yes.
Only now he's wearing a nice white button-down shirt that she gave him. And there is blood soaking all the way through it.
There you go. You look good. You look really good.
He lights up a cigarette. He takes a puff, and then he looks up at Julia.
I can taste that. It's a long time since I've tasted anything.
Yeah, cool. So you promised me an explanation. And then he holds up the puzzle box, and he's like,
This is it.
so let's talk about the puzzle box for a minute. It's a puzzle? It's a box. It's actually got a name. It's called the Lament Configuration.
Yes.
That's it. It's black, it's gold, it's gilded. Candy's got one in her bathroom. So he's holding it up, and she's like, let me see it.
No, don't touch it. It's dangerous. It opens doors.
What kind of doors?
Doors to the pleasures of heaven or hell. I didn't care which.
And then we get a flashback to sexy Frank solving the box in the dark room in the candles.
I thought I'd gone to the limits. I hadn't. The Cenobites gave me an experience beyond the limits.
And in the flashback now we see that, yep, he summoned the Cenobites. Now this particular group of Cenobites, we got Pinhead, Deep Throat, the Chatterer, and Butterball. Okay?
Yes.
The Chatterer is just a blank face with these huge exposed chattering teeth. They're constantly chattering. He's fucking scary looking, man.
Yeah.
We got Butterball, who is so fat that he looks like he couldn't bear to eat another thing.
Yeah. His belly's all split open.
Yeah, like he can like play with his guts. And he's wearing these dark glasses, okay? I already told you about Deep Throat. There's a pussy cut in the neck.
Everyone's wearing fetish leather.
Yeah, even the guys, they're wearing like leather dresses.
Yeah. Well, it's more like tunics.
Well,
Yes. Yeah.
oh yes, More like-
monastic garments.
more like tunics.
They're the Jedis of hell.
So Frank's talking about his experience with him, and he's like,
Pain and pleasure were indivisible.
you want to do that, Candy?
Good.
Pain and pleasure were indecisive.
And we see Frank, who is like now, he's hanging upside down, like they're doing this to him. He's hanging upside down, he's covered in blood, and he is spinning.
This is even more painful than it looks.
Now we come back to the present, and Julia is just like shocked to shit at what he has been telling her. Like,
There was a guy with pins in his face. She had a pussy in her neck. It was indecisive.
and Julia's like, Jesus Christ, are you fucking serious?
They won't get me back. And he fucking grabs her. I'm going to live and you're going to help me. Yes?
Yes. They'll never find us. Not in the whole wide world. And it's like, yeah, okay. You fucking dummy. Were you listening? Lady had a neck pussy. You're going to outsmart that shit. Cuts to later that night. Larry is watching a boxing match with Julia, and Larry's like,
Real super getting into it.
he's like, yeah, he's like throwing ghost punches at the fucking TV, like, get him, get him.
Bust him up! Bust his chops!
And Julia's just sitting there staring at the television. I might add that as time has gone on and she's made this transformation into being more of a killer, she's started to make a physical transformation. Like her hair, she's doing it differently now. At the beginning of the movie, started out real wavy, and now she's like, her hair is getting harder and harder. She's like slicking it back. Yeah. Like she's tougher now. And he's like, hey, babe, you sure you want to watch this? I thought this kind of thing made you sick. She's like, I've seen worse. Besides, I thought this kind of thing made you sick, you puss. Upstairs, no skin Frank is like walking around in, his shirt and pants. Mm-hmm. And like soaking in blood. And he's like pacing in the attic. Like he's going stir crazy, and he's like hitting the walls, and he's going like, ah! Like he wants more. He wants to be healed.
Yeah.
Larry hears that shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, the fuck? I'm going to go see what that was. Julia's like, no, don't go. And he's like, what? The fuck's your problem? Didn't you hear the shit? I got to find out what's going on. She's like, no, I don't want to be alone. It's just, I hate the thunder. I guess it's raining outside.
Yeah.
You see Frank, and he's like, shit. Because like he was actually kind of trying to lure Larry up there. Julia, in an effort to distract Larry from going upstairs, starts kissing him, and sexy time begins. Larry is like, oh, holy shit.
Yeah, man, this is getting me so hot.
He's like, oh my God, I haven't been laid in 7 years. Now's my only chance. And for some reason, he still says, no, come on, let's go upstairs. Let's both go check it out. She's like, no, please don't go up there. He walks up there. He stops at the attic door, and he's like, nah, I'll check the other room. The room across the hall. Mm-hmm. He opens it up, and it's nothing but furniture in there that's like covered in sheets. And Julia's like, whew, okay. Dodged a bullet there. And then he fucking walks into the attic, and she's like, oh, shit. He goes in there. He don't see shit. Frank's not in there. He hears a bunch of rats. And he's like, oh, okay, it was probably a rat. Now we see the rats that he was hearing, and Frank has stabbed them onto some nails on the wall. Julia is committed now, so they end up in the bedroom, and they are getting it on the bed. Larry is going to town. While that's happening, we see Frank creep out of their bedroom closet.
Yeah.
And it is fucking creepy, man. And he's just like staring at them on the bed. Julia's lying on the bed with Larry on top of her so she can see Frank.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yes. Oh, God. Yes. Oh, you're so hot. And then Frank pulls out his switchblade. And she's like, oh, no. Oh, God, no. No, please. Please, I can't bear it. No, please. And Frank's like standing there, and he just like holds up a rat. And then he stabs the knife into that fucker and fillets it right there in front of her.
Yeah.
And the creature effects for this were fucking beautiful. Like the rat is like writhing and moving.
There's a storm going on outside. It's fucking wicked, man.
Yeah. And she's like, no, I can't bear it, please. And Frank's like, oh, Jesus, all right. And he fucking goes back into the closet. Larry, who is clueless to Frank being there, he's like, what the fuck? You can't bear it?
Yeah.
You know? And he stops and he's like, I just don't get it. What the fuck? 1 minute you're all over me, and I just don't understand you.
You make fun of him, but as a guy, you really feel for Larry at this point.
I do.
Like, he's so clueless. Like, there's a whole, level of evil that he is unaware of, and it's happening right behind him.
Absolutely, man. All credit to Larry. Then it just cuts to Larry in a Chinese restaurant with Kirsty. And he's like, and she wanted me to fuck her, and now... And then she just stopped. He's like telling his daughter this stuff. Yeah. And his daughter is like, well, you got married. I'm sure there's some kind of love there. And he's like, oh, geez, I just don't know what to do. She doesn't even leave the house. It's like she's waiting for something. Why? I don't know. Would you please stop by, tomorrow and maybe just talk with her, Oh, yeah, sure, Dad. Maybe she just needs somebody to talk to, Just cuts to Julia and Frank on the stairs, and Frank's like,
Wearing a bloody suit. You can't love him.
You know I don't.
So where's the harm?
I said no. Like he wants to eat Larry.
Yeah.
Then find me somebody else before they come looking.
So, yeah, cuts to Julia bringing another trick inside. But this time, Kirsty sees it because she was coming over to visit Julia.
Yeah.
She watches that shit. Julia walking into the house with some strange dude. She's like, oh, you bitch. Julia leads the trick upstairs. We hear the dum-dum, dum-dum. They walk into the attic and shut the door. The guy's like, what is this? A game? You know, because it's a kill room.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just looks up and sees, in the corner of the room, a skinless man in a suit just staring at him from the corner.
It's fucking frightening.
Yes, man.
Holy shit.
And the guy is like, Jesus Christ! He turns to run, takes a hammer in the head. Kirsty hears it all go down from outside, and she's like, holy shit! The guy's not even dead yet, and Frank takes him anyway.
And he like sticks his fingers into his neck.
And he can suck the blood out through his hands. It's weird. Yeah. While that's happening, the guy's looking at Julia. Don't let him kill me! Kirsty sneaks in the front door. She's being all quiet, and then the door just slams shut behind her, like it's a haunted house. You know, why not? Julia leaves the attic to let, Frank feed, and she hears Kirsty downstairs. So she's like, oh shit, I'd better hide in the room across the hall. Kirsty comes up, and she's looking at the doors. I wonder where they went, when all of a sudden the attic door opens up, and that dude who's all drained of life and blood, but still not fucking dead yet, just busts out. And he's like, oh, help me. And his face is all nasty looking and shit. Kirsty's like, what the fuck? The guy grabs her hand, and then Frank comes out. And Kirsty is like, holy shit!
Kirsty, it's Frank. It's Uncle Frank. No! You remember? Come to Daddy.
He grabs her, and he's obviously turned on. It's fucking creepy as shit. Yeah. And she's like, get the fuck off of me! And she runs away from him, but ends up in that attic room. He follows her in and shuts the door.
You've grown. You're beautiful.
Ugh.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me, or so help me.
What'll you do? What can you do? There's nothing to be afraid of.
He corners her up against the wall, and he's all like,
super close and creepy and bloody and poopy. Bet you make your daddy so proud, don't you? Beautiful.
Oh my God, this isn't happening. This isn't happening.
I used to tell myself that. I used to pretend I was dreaming all of the pain. But don't you kid yourself. Some things have to be endured. And that's what makes the pleasure so sweet. And right then, Kirsty stabs her fucking hand into his guts. And yep, goes all the way in. And it hurts him. He's like, ah! He fucking goes down. Ah, fuck! They're struggling and shit. She kicks him in the nuts. It's a pretty funny shot. He goes down again. It's fucking awesome. She looks down. Oh, what's this? Is this some kind of magic puzzle box? She fucking finds it on the ground, picks it up. No! Give me that.
Kirsty's like, what the fuck? Fuck is this? No, I'm not giving it to you.
Give it to me.
You want it? You want it?
One last time. Give me that box.
He wants her box. You want it? Fucking have it! And then she throws it through the window, and it falls outside onto the ground.
Yeah.
No!
Kirsty actually escapes the house. She runs downstairs, makes it outside, picks up the box, and fucking runs away with it. She's just wandering through the city, and she's tormented by visions of what just happened. You can hear him going come to Daddy. It's Frank, Uncle Frank. And she's like, oh, Jesus Christ, I think I'm yep, I'm fainting. And she goes down. She wakes up in the hospital, and there's a nurse who's watching television, and on the TV is just a blooming flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking weird.
She's like, symbolism. The nurse is like, oh, you're awake. Holy shit. Let me go get the doctor. Doctor comes in and he's like, hey, you need to get back in bed. And hey, he holds up the box. He's like, what's this shit? I don't fucking know. Well, the cops, they're going to want to talk to you. And it's a big thing where people are like, why? You know? In the meantime, maybe it'll jog your memory. He puts the box down and then he leaves and they lock her in her room.
Is this like a mental hospital?
That's unclear. But I don't think so. I wouldn't think so. No. So Kirsty's in there and she's bored and she's like, oh, a puzzle box. She picks it up and immediately starts like trying to solve it. So usually when the box is being manipulated, there's like blue energy, electricity coming from it and stuff. But because it's Kirsty, now the energy is pink.
Oh.
So she's, playing with her box. And, it's like jingling and stuff. And she solves it.
Yeah. How do you solve it? Like, what's her hands doing?
She's like sliding her thumbs around the circles and stuff. It's all very clitoral.
Yeah. It's kind of like caressing, kind of like pushing the sensual thing of the movie.
Now, Pinhead himself has said that it is not hands that solve the box. It is desire.
Oh.
Now, here's the thing. Kirsty, she's supposed to be so innocent, right? So how could she even possibly solve the box? Well, maybe she's not so innocent. Maybe there's past between her and Frank?
Yeah. Or just the desire to solve the mystery of what's going on, you know?
Oh, man, way to water it down. Jesus Christ. Hey, how about we make things dumb? She actually gets it like halfway solved when it starts fucking solving itself. And it's like, whoa, baby. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, it's finished, and there's this fucking, the wall just like opens up. And inside, she can see like an endless hallway going off into infinity. And it's all dark.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what it is. She doesn't know what the Cenobites are. She doesn't know that she's looking into the labyrinth of hell. So, you know what? Why not check it out?
Yeah.
So she walks in, and she hears a fucking baby crying. So she keeps on going, looking for this shit. And then instead of finding a crying baby, she finds this giant fucking dick scorpion monster that is like, okay, man, this thing is fucking cool.
By today's standards, it's cheesy.
Oh, it's very cheesy. But the idea of it is really cool.
Thinking about when they made this, it was like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, this thing, its legs are not even on the ground. They're on the walls.
Yeah.
And that's like how it moves itself down the hallway.
It's like taking up the whole hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hanging upside down with its face like on the bottom, all right? And his little hands kind of reaching for Kirsty. And he's got like super razor sharp teeth and a giant fucking stinger on his tail. Like he looks like a scorpion.
Yeah.
But penile. This thing is actually known as the Engineer. So this thing starts fucking chasing her down this hallway. Like back down the hall the way she came. And it's like, come on, let's do this. And she's like, oh, fuck. She's fucking running. It's fucking gnashing its teeth and shit. She barely makes it back into her hospital room. She fucking turns around and the wall is closed. But we can hear this fucker on the other side like, still trying to get through.
Yeah.
It's poop. It stinks. I need more.
Poop.
Actually, right about now is one of my all-time favorite shots in this whole film. So she's in there, she can hear this fucker on the other side of the wall, and she starts struggling with the box, trying to reverse it, trying to unsolve it, to reverse whatever the hell she's done. When, oh shit, something else starts happening in the room. She fucking looks over at the wall, which is covered in white tile with like moldy grout.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it just goes black. And we just see the tile is now black and the grout is now glowing fucking yellow.
Yeah.
It is so cool. It's like the world went negative.
Yeah.
Fucking cool, man.
It's like hell's coming through.
Yeah. And then like steam starts coming out of the grout lines and shit. And she's like, oh shit. And then, oh shit. Fucking bells are tolling, okay? Oh. And this always happens when the Cenobites are coming. She tries to get out of the room, fucking still locked. She's got an IV bag next to her bed, and it starts filling up with blood. Mm-hmm. And it explodes. A blast of energy comes out of the puzzle box and manifests itself in the room as the Chatterer. And he is so fucking cool looking, man.
His head is like twisted around.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
He's like mangled. These chattering teeth.
Yeah, just the big fucking chattering teeth. And he starts coming at Kirsty all slow, like he's stalking her. Then he reaches up and he grabs her with 2 fingers in the mouth.
Yeah. Creepy.
He fucking grabs a hold of like her fucking jaw.
Yeah.
So she's like... So he holds on to her, and obviously he is like the muscle of the group, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And then fucking Pinhead arrives, and Kirsty's like, holy shit. Like, what the fuck is happening? Then there's Butterball, and then Deep Throat, they show up, and Pinhead speaks for the very first time. But while he does, he is just beautiful to watch, man, because he's just like totally still, he's stoic, and he is in fucking complete control.
Yes.
And he just says,
The box.
oh, okay.
You opened it. We came.
And she's like, it's just a puzzle box.
Oh no. It is a means to summon us.
Who are you?
Explorers. In the further regions of experience. Demons to some. Angels to others.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. It was a mistake. I didn't mean to open it. A fucking mistake. You can all go to hell. And then the female, Deep Throat, she talks, and she's just like,
We can't. Not alone.
Pinhead's like,
You solved the box. We came. Now you must come with us. Taste our pleasures.
no, oh my God, no, please, go away and leave me alone.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
And it's like, yep.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
She's like, no, please wait.
No time for argument.
You've done this before, right? Butterball is like licking his lips. He wants some of that Kirsty.
Many, many times.
To a man called Frank Cotton? And then Deep Throat's like,
Oh, yes.
he escaped you.
Nobody escapes us.
He did. I've seen him. He's alive.
Supposing he had escaped us, what has that to do with you?
I can lead you to him. And you can take him back instead of me. And it's like, hey, Kirsty, check out the big brain on Kirsty.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's where this movie hits another level.
I know.
Like, it becomes a political story.
Fuck yeah. But then Deep Throat just says,
Perhaps we prefer you.
and it's like, oh, shit.
I want to hear him confess himself. Then, maybe. But if you cheat us, we'll tear your soul apart.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
So it cuts to Frank and Julia, and she's like, she'll tell them everything.
I don't think so. She'll want to warn Larry first.
And then the fucking phone rings, and Julia's like, that's probably her now. Or the police.
It doesn't make any difference.
Don't you fucking care about anything, asshole?
What I care about is a new skin.
Maybe we should just leave.
Like this? Fucking look at me.
We can't just stay here.
My brother will be home soon.
And then Julia looks at him like, shit. All right, motherfucker, let's do this. Let's kill my husband.
Yeah. So all he needs now is skin?
Yep.
Okay.
And just like that, fucking Larry comes home. She meets him on the stairs, and he's like, what's wrong? Because she's got a real serious look on her face. I don't know where to begin.
Fuck you talking about, babe?
You know, it's best you see for yourself. And then it just cuts back to the hospital, and Steve has shown up. And he's like, where's my girlfriend? And the nurse is like, I left her here. I don't know what the fuck. Because Kirsty's gone. Steve's like, maybe she went to her father's house. And then it just cuts to Larry at home. And he's walking downstairs from the attic, and he's like wringing his hands and like cracking his knuckles. And he walks in to find Julia like in her makeup mirror, like smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
And he just caresses her face. And then she smiles. And then boom, it cuts to them fucking into bed. Yeah. Here we go. And he is driving her wild, ladies and gentlemen. So Larry finally got his dick wet. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Fucking afterwards, Kirsty is like banging on the front door. And she's like in her hospital gown. And she is screaming for Larry. Julia's like, what the fuck's out here? What do you want? My dad. Where's my dad? What's wrong? I want to see him. Of course. Come in. Come in. Oh my God, Daddy. And he's like, it's okay, baby. It's okay. Daddy, I was so afraid. And we see that Larry has like fucking blood in his hair. Okay,
Yeah.
that's pretty weird, right?
Yeah.
And like some blood behind his ears. It's okay, baby. Julia told me everything. No, your brother Frank. Your brother Frank is upstairs and he's trying to kill you. No, wait. And he like grabs her and he's holding on to her. Listen, whatever Frank did was unspeakable. And he looks over at Julia, who like smiles at him. Unspeakable. But believe me, it's finished with now. Well, why is it finished? He's gone. What the fuck? Julia's like, he's dead, Kirsty. He was insane, baby. A mad dog. I had to put him out of his misery. Jesus, what a scene. And he's like, drinking. Kirsty's still crying, and Larry's like, when I'm feeling better, I'll go to the police and I'll try to make them understand. God knows I don't really understand myself. Did he hurt you, baby? No, I'm okay. He's better off dead. That poor Frank. I don't believe this. Believe it. No, I need to see him. No, you don't. Yes, I do. And then Larry just looks over at Julia. He's like, show her. So Julia takes Kirsty up into the attic. And then we see Larry like looking in the mirror. And he like pulls the skin near his eye. And he's like pushing on his eyeball like, yeah. Kirsty looks into the attic room and sees Frank's bloody fucking body in the middle of the floor. And she's like, oh, fuck. She goes in and then the fucking door slams shut behind her. And then... Yep, the Cenobites are back. She fucking turns around. There's Pinhead with Chatterer and Butterball on either side of him. And he is just pointing down at this body in the middle of the floor. And he says,
We want the man who did this.
Fuck yeah.
dude, yeah, that's like his coolest line, I think. No, that wasn't the deal. He's my father and you can't have him. She fucking runs out of the room, slams the door. Demons from hell. She's running down the stairs and runs into Julia, who like puts her arm up and blocks the way. Like she's finally come out into the open and made her move against her stepdaughter. So then they struggle. They're fighting and fucking Larry shows up and he's like, what's the matter, you guys? There's no time. No, wait, I told you all that was over with now. No, it's not. We gotta get out of here. No, stay with us. And then it just shows Larry and Julia just like fucking staring at her. And it's all of a sudden like, yep, something's fucked up. They're creepy. They're both creepy now. We can all be happy here. No. Larry walks up to her and he says, come to daddy. Yeah. And it's like, oh, shit, man. Yeah. It's Frank.
Yeah.
Wearing fucking Larry's skin, which means the body upstairs was Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Come to daddy. And then he fucking gets up and he like holds her face. And she fucking panics and scratches these big fucking ribbons of skin right off of his cheek. And they're like hanging and dangling.
Yeah.
Julia's like, Frank! Kirsten fucking runs. She backs up into Julia, and Julia grabs onto her and holds her steady. And then Larry, who is actually Frank, fucking pulls out his switchblade. Ching! And he goes, well, so much for the cat and mouse shit. Julia's holding Kirsty, and he starts approaching real slow with the knife. And he's like, yeah. And then he stabs her real quick. But Kirsty fucking dodges, and Frank stabs Julia.
Oh, damn.
And she's like, ah! And she actually goes, not me! And then she starts slumping and dying in fucking Frank's arms. He does not waste the opportunity. He puts his fingers on her face and starts sucking the blood and life out of her body.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And all of a sudden, her face is all like spent looking and like grody. And he's like, it's nothing personal, baby. And then he just like leans her up against the wall to go ahead and die.
Mm-hmm.
So then he takes the knife out of her belly and goes upstairs after Kirsty. And he's like hunting, like real slow, like, where are you, beautiful? Come out, wherever you are. Kirsty's got a couple of choices here. She can go back into the attic room with the demon hell beasts, or she can go into the room with all the sheets over the furniture, right?
Yeah.
That's where she goes. So she's in there, she's hiding, she's slinking in the darkness. Frank goes in, and he is in that same room with her, and he's just like looking around. Remember, he's in Larry's body. Yeah. We'll call him Frank, all right? Kirsty's real fucking quiet. She's like backing away from him in the shadows. She's doing a pretty good job of evading him, okay? Until she fucking backs into a rotten husk of one of the tricks from earlier. He pours fucking maggots out of his mouth and all over Kirsty. Kirsty has to deal with that shit completely silently. It was beautifully done. So Frank's like, well, I guess she's not in here. And he fucking leaves, all right? So she waits for his footsteps to die down, and then she leaves too. She's out on the top of the stairs, and she's just like trembling and scared and kind of crying. And then real slowly, Frank fucking steps out of the attic door. And he's like, and he creeps up behind her and then opens the switchblade again. And she's like, oh, fuck. She fucking backs up to the wall. He's got her. She's fucking defeated. She ends up backing into the attic room and then trips over the bloody corpse in the middle of the floor. And she's like, oh my God, Daddy, Daddy. She starts crying over him. No, Daddy. Frank's like, no, don't mourn for him. He was dead long before we ever touched him. Now, you might notice I'm doing a different voice for Frank now because he is speaking with Larry's voice. Despite the fact he's only wearing his skin.
Yeah.
You bastard. No, hush now. Everything's all right. Frank's here, and he's creeping on her again. You fucking bastard. Your dear old Uncle Frank. And then the walls start creaking again, and the fucking light is coming from the cracks and shit. And Frank is like, what the hell's that? See, the room is a little bit more foggy now, and the lights, there's more light coming in, and the light kind of rolls up and reveals that Pinhead and the other Cenobites are already standing in the fucking room.
Oh. Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck.
Here we go.
Yeah. Frank's like, fuck this. And he fucking turns around to leave. And then all these chains start fucking shooting out of the corners of the room and shit. And they're just like hanging all in the attic and everything. Nothing has shot into anybody's body yet. Now there's one of those wooden pillars spinning. You know, they're going to strap him to and fuck him with knives.
Yeah. Isn't there like two little meat bodies on a pillar fucking? Remember that?
No.
Oh my God. On the pillar.
Uh-huh.
There's a bunch of decorative flesh evil shit on the pillars. And on one of the pillars is two little like
meat bodies.
And one of them is thrusting into the other one.
I don't know if that was in this movie.
It's very crudely done. I think it is.
Really?
But, all right, continue.
Damn. All right, stop everything. I got to go back and watch it. So Frank sees all this shit, and he's like, oh, fuck. He is now really going for the door, and fucking Chatterer is already behind him and just fucking pushes that motherfucker back into the center. All the other Cenobites fucking surround him. Pinhead's like, Frank. Frank yells, no! And then Deep Throat is like, we had to hear it from your own lips. Now we see Kirsty. And she is just fucking standing there like, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. And Pinhead turns to her and he's like,
This isn't for your eyes.
Frank turns to Kirsty and he's like, you set me up, bitch. Kirsty, who is at the end of her rope of sanity, just like starts backing up, and she's got a look on her face like, yep, I did. I sure fucking did. And Frank just like starts stalking towards her. Remember, he still has the switchblade. All the other Cenobites are just like,
I want to see where this goes.
they're just staring. Kirsty turns to open the door. Frank fucking raises the switchblade up to stab her, and then a chain shoots out of the corner of the room and hooks into his fucking hand and stops him from killing her. He drops the knife. He looks and sees this fucking hook on a chain in his hand, and he's like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then it starts dragging him back into the room. Another chain hooks into his other hand, and it pulls his arms out. So now he's got his arms stretched out, like Christ. And he looks around at the Cenobites that are just standing there watching him. Kirsty, who is fucking petrified, just like stays and sees way more chains and hooks shoot into his body, all over his body. He's fucking bleeding. He's screaming, ah! There is now a big giant pizza cutter running up his back.
Oh.
Like they're going to take his skin back or something, Kirsty's crying and she's like shaking her head. She opens her eyes to look at Frank and sees all of these hooks in his face that are pulling it in all directions in the room.
Yeah.
He's screaming, ah! And then he fucking stops and he looks over at Kirsty and then licks his fucking lips and he's smiling at her. It's real fucking creepy and fucking gross. And then he just says, Jesus wept. And then Kirsty's like, okay, now I'm leaving. She walks out the door. Just before the fucking door closes, we see Frank explode as he is pulled apart by all these fucking chains. He is now just meat on the walls.
Yeah.
And there goes Frank. Kirsty's out on the stairs, and she is now crazy. She's freaking out. She goes downstairs. Oh, shit. She fucking runs into Deep Throat on the stairs.
Yeah.
Deep Throat has like a hook in her hand and she's like running it up the wall. Coming up to fucking get Kirsty. Remember, they had a deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not leaving so soon, are you?
Kirsty's like, holy shit. She fucking runs into another room, finds Julia's body laid out on a bed with her face peeled open and being held open by chains. In her hands is the box.
Yeah.
I always thought that was too much.
Really?
Yeah. She goes into the room, you see Julia's corpse or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's like,
Who did it?
Julia was doing stuff and stuff was going on that we never saw.
Yeah.
And that is like more creepy to me than anything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What do you mean Julia was doing stuff?
Like Julia wasn't dead yet when...
Last we saw her, Frank just left her. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
After he was sucking the shit out of her. And then what happened? We cut to Kirsty and the Cenobites, and she went to the bed. Chains come out and clicked onto her face. Where did she get the box?
Yeah.
It's like, it just adds to it. I don't know.
I thought the Cenobites set that up. Like they were just kind of torturing her because she deserved it.
Yeah, but you never saw it.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of gets me in a way. I don't know.
Go ahead, keep talking. I appreciate the break.
Well, it obviously is significant in the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the setup for the sequel.
Oh, yeah.
So Deep Throat is stalking towards Kirsty. She's got her hook. Kirsty takes the box out of Julia's dead hands, and she's like, furiously fucking trying to unsolve the box, This worked before. I was able to reverse shit. Maybe it'll work now. Right then, fucking Pinhead just rises up behind her. Oh, Jesus Christ. He's fucking towering over her.
We have such sights to show you.
Kirsty turns around real slow, fucking looks up at him, and actually says, oh, shit. She's still playing with the box, okay? She actually starts to get it working. It's moving and shit, and Pinhead's like,
no, don't do that.
Go hell? She starts closing the box again, okay? And the house starts rumbling and crumbling, and fucking blood is like pouring out of the walls and shit. There is debris falling. The house is falling apart, okay? Yeah. Fucking hell on earth is happening in this house. She closes the box. There's some blue energy that flies out of it, hits Pinhead, and all of a sudden he just fucking disintegrates and is sent away back to hell. And it, you know, as he's leaving, he's like, oh. So think about that. He is like the big bad of the, you know, the Cenobites.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the leader. He's the first to go. We see the house from outside. All of the windows are fucking lit up real bright. You know, fucking shit's happening in here. And the house is like falling apart. Deep Throat is up behind Kirsty, who then works the box some more, does the same thing, and sends her back to hell too. Kirsty's like, fuck yeah, all right, I'm starting to get the hang of this shit. There's fucking banging on the front door now. And good old Steve-O. He came to find his girl.
Yeah.
Kirsty! She's running downstairs. She's dodging rubble and debris and shit. Steve busts in the front door. The house is fucking falling apart. There's shit flying everywhere. Kirsty's like coughing all this fucking dust and shit. When behind her, we see the fucking Chatterer. But he has got a plastic sheet over his head like some kind of weird, creepy bridal veil.
Yeah.
And he's like... She's like, oh, fuck. She fucking turns around. No. The veil just lifts off of Chatterer and he starts coming for her. So he's coming for her. She's fucking playing with the box again. Oh, God. Come on, come on, come on. Finally, it works and fucking sends him away. And he's like, and she's like, all right. She is happy now. She sees Steve. They reunite. They're hugging. Everything's going to be fine. When Kirsty sees Butterball coming up behind Steve, and Butterball is hungry, baby. Kirsty's like, oh, fuck. Butterball takes off his dark glasses to reveal that his eyes are sewn shut.
Yeah.
But he's about to eat him some Steve, so he needs to take them off. Kirsty's like, no! Doesn't matter because Butterball is now hit and crushed by debris from the ceiling.
Yeah. Fucking weird.
Uh-huh. Steve's like, oh, Kirsty, thank God you're okay. And they are loving it up, baby. Let's get the hell out of here now. He tries to open the front door. It is fucking locked. Then in her hands, Kirsty sees the box is starting to solve itself. Like, it's not letting this shit go down lightly. And she's like, oh, no. She's trying to stop it and can't. Steve gets the fucking front door open, and she's like, no, there's going to be something out there, motherfucker. He opens the door, and it's just the Dark Knight outside. Batman himself.
Where's the trigger?
Kirsty sees there's nothing out there, and she's like, oh, okay. Oh, geez. All right. So she hugs Steve, and it's like, let's go. And then all of a sudden, the fucking engineer is there, and it's fucking attacking her from outside the front door.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, shit. Kirsty fucking drops the box, and it's like, bzz, 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 bzz. She's screaming. She fucking grabs for it. The engineer wants it too, and he starts fighting her for it. They're like pushing each other and hitting each other.
Yeah.
This giant fucking dick monster with all of these razor sharp teeth is just like slapping Kirsty. Okay. Steve, being, fancying himself quite the badass, picks up a milk bottle, breaks it, and he is going to fight this engineer motherfucker. And he just immediately gets punched in the face by it and flies back. It's fucking, it wants that box. It's fucking fighting Kirsty for it. It fucking grabs her arm and she's like, oh God, no, ah. Both of these fuckers are fumbling for the box. Kirsty? Giant penis monster. Okay, so check this out. Kirsty finally gets the box away from it and then backs up so she can start unsolving it, okay? Steve, who is not knocked out, he was just knocked down, jumps over there, starts trying to grab the box out of Kirsty's hands and actually says, here, come on, push the... Like he's going to tell her how to do it. She actually goes, no, and then hits him away. Like, I didn't go through all this shit so you could show up and steal my thunder on the last bad guy.
I don't remember this part of the movie.
I don't either.
It happened. He's like, come on, you got to push the button.
You got to caress it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's a side of the box that has a big circle on it.
Right.
And you caress your thumb around the exterior of the circle. And that solves it.
She gets the box back into its cube shape, and it sends the engineer back to hell with...
All right.
There's a big old yellow flash of him disappearing. That dies down, and then they're both just standing there like, all right, shit, it's over, cool. So they walk outside. They're all like slow and cautious, and the fucking door slams shut behind them, and it starts raining. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be okay. They look back at the house. All the windows are like glowing orange, and we see that Gitano Jean's photo of Frank from before. We see it overlaid over the house, and then the picture begins to burn. So one could deduce that this is meant to symbolize the house burned down. And now it's just those two in the middle of this empty lot that's covered in all these piles of burning debris. Like, the house burned down that quick. Or they just stood there for like probably a good 13 hours. I guess the house would burn down faster than that, huh? Maybe not, though.
Well, I mean, no neighbors came out. No fire trucks showed up.
Yeah.
I thought they walked away to an empty lot where bums had fires.
No.
Really?
Now
I've always thought that.
Now, they do show the house again in the second movie, but Clive Barker himself has said,
I don't think I meant for the house to burn down.
Kirsty walks up to one of these flaming piles of shit, and she tosses the lament configuration into the fire to burn and destroy it. And she's like, yeah, baby, burn. She backs on up to Steve-O, who's like, let's go, babe. Then across the lot, they see approaching them the derelict.
Oh, yeah.
And he's coming to see what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
And the music's all bum, bum. And he goes over to the fire, looks up at Kirsty, and she's like, the fuck are you doing? He bends down and reaches into the flames and grabs the box. He immediately catches fire and burns completely. Like, he totally gets enveloped in flames.
Yes. Yeah.
He is not panicking or screaming. He's just getting the box. Kirsty's fucking horrified. Like, what the fuck? Holy shit. And then in the fire, we finally see the derelict's true form, and he is now a giant skeletal horned winged demon. Like a big fucking skeleton dragon.
Yeah.
And it's like, rawr! And it's holding the box in its like claws, and then it fucking takes flight and swoops away. As it's flying away, we just see Kirsty and Steve like getting left behind. And we transition to the box again. Now, sitting on a table in a familiar Middle Eastern cafe. On either side are two men. One is a new stranger, and the other is the same Asian man from the beginning of the movie, with the same dragon graffiti on the wall over his shoulder. Oh. Ah, it makes sense now. Then the guy just says, "What's your pleasure, sir?" And the credits roll, baby.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hellraiser on Movies with Ron.
Yep, there you have it.
Wow, good job, Ron.
Thank you. I love this movie.
Oh, I do too, man.
Me too.
Candy, I think you're responsible for the Clive Barker craze in this family.
Yes, you are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you told Ron about Great and Secret Show, and then Ron told me about it.
Yep, the rest is history.
Yeah, creative storytelling. This is a cool story. I love Hellraiser.
Yeah. I remember being a kid. She showed me the movie Hellraiser, and I was like, what's up with the homeless man? And she says to me, he's called a derelict. And I was like, okay.
Well, I apologize for contributing to the destruction of your innocence.
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah.
We love you.
I love the mattress. The mattress comes back in the sequel.
Oh,
it ends up
in
being,
a big way.
It ends up being the catalyst of like the source of the haunting.
Right.
Yeah.
And it gives the struggle at the beginning of the first movie, getting the mattress up the stairs, even more meaning.
Yes.
And I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I love the second one as well.
Yeah.
It like gets all fucking weirder and shit, takes you into hell.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it's not based on a book, and Clive Barker just produced it.
Yeah.
Like it was a separate production, but there are 9 Hellraiser movies.
I know.
And the second one is the closest to the universe of what the first one introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the third one, okay, that was where it started getting all Hollywood and commercialized.
Yeah.
But to be honest, that was the first one that I was old enough to go see in theaters by myself. So even though it's not a great movie, it still holds a special place in my heart.
Oh.
And I even kind of enjoyed Bloodlines. You know,
me too.
I didn't think it was that bad. A lot of people fucking hate it. Okay,
I
now,
love it.
I do like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Takes place in space, but flashbacks to like
Oh.
the old medieval era. Le Marchand, the guy who designed the box.
Yeah.
Fucking cool, man. Clive Barker's first film. There's never been like a greater first movie, dude.
Agreed.
He is multifaceted.
Yeah.
Very talented.
So who was the antagonist of this story?
It was obviously Kirsty.
It was Frank.
Yeah, Frank's the villain.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
It's not Pinhead.
Frank is the Darth Vader of the story. Like he has such a haunted backstory. And like he's basically just like a fucking sex addict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
He
was
is.
like seeking out all the possibilities of pleasure.
Exactly.
And the Cenobites were just chaotic neutrals.
Right.
Like at the end of the movie, they kind of welched on the deal. Like,
Yes.
they wanted to take Kirsty anyways.
Uh-huh.
But it's still so powerful. And it ties into the dark fantasy of Clive Barker. Like the real bad guy in the movie is someone who is related to the family and is tangible. The hell demons are just political elements.
Yeah.
To be
Yes.
manipulated. And I don't know, that's the beauty of it, man.
Yeah, it's weird. When I first saw this movie, I never identified with Kirsty or rooted for Kirsty. And I always felt sympathy for Julia.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Because when she opened that door, she was innocent. She was innocent. Mm-hmm. Like she loved the man she was going to marry. I don't think she felt some gaga feelings of love for Frank. I think he opened up this dark door in her and opened up something kind of savage.
Yeah.
And she had no choice but to follow down that path.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Because I think Kirsty is a weak hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's not the final girl, quote unquote, in
Sure,
the sense
sure.
that you want. And it's only because, in a lot of ways, you follow Julia's trajectory through the movie a lot more.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn of her like haunted nature of like what happened to her. And in a lot of ways, Julia is the main character. She may not be the hero, but
She at the beginning of the movie anyway, she definitely has anti-hero traits.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you see her just like her weird role in this story
Yeah.
of her like supplying Frank
Yeah.
with his fucking bodies. I don't know. I've always likened it to Little Shop of Horrors, where she's the Rick Moranis role.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I love that she returns in the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I always did.
Speaking of returns, I've done some digging. You know, they have continued the Hellraiser storyline in comic books and graphic novels, and that is actually sanctioned as like canon by Clive Barker.
Yeah.
You know, eventually Kirsty ends up turned into a Cenobite and replaces Pinhead
What?
and becomes Lady Pinhead.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Wow.
Rest is history. But this film will still it'll still live on in our hearts, and I'm glad we did an episode on it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you,
idea.
sir. All right, folks. If you're using that Apple Podcasts,
It's poop.
leave us a rating and review. I can't stress enough how important that means to me.
I need more.
Also, check us out on Twitter @MoviesWithRon. There's a Facebook page. Check out movieswithron.com if you're on a desktop. It's been fun.
Yep, we love you.
See you guys.
Movies with Ron.
You have to heal me.
This is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
This is a problem. You haven't even gotten to Pinhead yet.
I'm
I'm
worried.
wondering what your voice for Pinhead's going to be.
Not as good. Pinhead's voice is not as cool as Frank's. Sorry.
This is like spot on.
You don't have to rasp it. That's what's killing your voice.
That's what he sounds like.
You can just be like this.
And not sound like him.
You don't have to sound like him. You just have to sound different than anyone else you're doing.
You gotta heal me, Julia!